to Julie's Wreath Boutique. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure you do. Today we're going to make a burlap pumpkin wreath, perfect for the fall season. Here's what you will need to get started. 25 yards of orange burlap, 6 inches wide. 5 yards of green burlap. It can be either 4 inches or 6 inches, your choice. Chenille stems, we need quite a few of the orange, at least 1 of the beige, and then I'm going to need zip ties, 4-inch and 8-inch. I also use a piece of felt to put on the back of my wreath. We are also going to use a 12-inch wreath frame and an 8-inch wreath frame. Chicken wire ribbon, you can find this at Hobby Lobby. This is a grapevine wire, raffia ribbon, scissors, and wire cutters. What I'm going to show you today, you can use for a pumpkin and even like an apple if you'd like to try. But today we're going to make a pumpkin. First off, I'm going to take my chenille stems and I'm going to make a crossbar right here in between my 8-inch wreath frame. There's no right or wrong way, just connect them on the crossbars and then connect it to the opposite side. And I'm just going to twist till it all just connects. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side here. Whatever bars you can. This one and this one won't line up, so I think I'm just going to keep it right there. I'm going to take my 8-inch zip ties and connect So now it's time to add the orange burlap to the wreath frame. Now when you look at your wreath frame, I want you to think as this part down here as the pumpkin itself. And up here is where we're going to put the green. So from this bracket to this bracket on the 12-inch frame is the only part we're going to put the green, right here. So make sure that you pay attention to that when you start this process, that this part will not be orange. So here we go. We're going to take a chenille stem, and I just like to weave my chenille stem through my burlap to get me started. Okay, so I'm going to just do this, and I'm going to twist it. So I'm going to just attach it to the bottom of my wreath frame like this. Now this is just the simple pull through twist burlap method, but we're not going to go around the wreath like this. We're going to work our way into the wreath, out to the wreath, in, out, in, out, in, out, until we get to here, and then we're going to fill this space right here. So let's get started. I'm going to pull through. I'll do it on this side actually. I'm going to pull through just enough of my burlap to make a pretty good loop right there. Now I'm going to go to the bottom of this loop, and I'm going to again pull through just enough to make the same amount of a loop. And I'm just going to keep doing that here all the way until I get into this section of our crossbar center. And then I'll show you what we're going to do. Just make sure you pull it, because I want to make sure that I don't have too much backing here. We want all the burlap to be up front. As I pull these through, I'm kind of pushing them over. I'm holding it with my hand here so that we get as much fullness as we can get for this wreath. So here I'm going to go, and now I'm going to bring it through this center section. And at this point I need to get some of my chenille stems, and I'm going to cut some of these in half because we will need these. So I'm going to pull one through, a loop through, and I'm going to connect it with that chenille stem on this bar. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see, my finger is right here, and I'm going to connect this. I'm going to go through the back of the burlap, and I'm going to just connect it, and I'm going to twist it right here. And that's going to give us the effect of going inside the wreath. So now that I've worked my way in, I want to work my way out. And I want to push over my burlap, and now I'm going to go through this bar, and I'm going this way. You can purchase most of all these supplies at Hobby Lobby if you have one, or Craft Outlet. I'm not really sure what Craft Outlet will have for the chicken wire or the grapevine wire, but I know you can order from online as well through Hobby Lobby. So here I am. I'm going to go through all of these rims, and I'm going to make sure that I end up at this outside rim. Again, you want to push it over. I'm going to move this over. Let's see, where are we at? Okay. This one's getting a little twisted for me, so I'm going to kind of wrestle with it here, but that's okay. It might be a good idea for you to wear a burlap, or I should say might wear a mask dealing with this burlap because of all the fibers that come off of it. Okay, so I'm at this outer rim, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to push everything over, and I am going to secure this last loop over here to this rim with one of my half chenille stems. So I'm going to go underneath this last part here. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm just going to secure it onto this rim. And then I'm going to push that over. Now we want to start, and we need to fill the outside. Needs more of these loops than what will go inside. So I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to twist this a little bit, and then I'm going to pull through the same exact bar. And to make sure that this stays put and it doesn't move around us, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did here. I'm going to just take a chenille stem and secure it to that rim until we get over here a little bit. So I'm looking at this, and I need to make another loop because there's always more room on this outside before I can start working my way in again. And again, I'm just going to take another chenille stem and secure it. So I think that's going to be good for, so I think you get about 4 loops on this last rim of your wreath frame. Okay, and we will get rid of that later. So I'm going to push everything over, and now I'm going to go down through the next rim. And at this point we're going to run out of burlap, so we're going to have to attach another roll. This is being a little stubborn as I try to pull it through. Sometimes you get down to the bottom roll and it does. Okay, so let's see how much. We got at least another loop there before we have to. So I'm going to keep moving it down so there's enough to put another loop right in there. So I'm going to do that. You want to fill all your holes here because you don't want to have some bare spots. So that was about as far as one roll will go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one whole piece of chenille stem and I'm just going to weave it through here. And I'm going to attach this to the wreath frame so it won't go anywhere. Again, there's no wrong or right way to do this. This is just securing it and making sure that your stems aren't shown on the front. So I'm going to just twist that a couple times, and I will even take my scissors and cut what's left over here. Make sure you don't cut any of your other burlap as I just tried to there. So now I'm going to attach another piece or roll onto this existing chenille stem so I don't have to get another one out. And I'm just going to weave it through and I'm going to twist it. At the end of this we'll cut all these. So I'm going to find out where I left off, and it looks like right here. I'm going to pull through my loop and I'm just going to continue on filling out my frame here. And again, once you get to the center, just connect it with the chenille stem. as you can see, our pumpkin is taking shape here. Okay, so this is what I want to do. I want you to see what is left that doesn't have burlap in it. You have this section here, that middle section, this part of the wreath frame, and just a little bit over here. Remember, we want to keep these two brackets on the top of our wreath frame free for the green burlap. So I'm just going to pull it through. I've already connected a new roll, and I'm going to pull it through the center. Looks like I pulled it through the same center before, but that's okay. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to just, actually I think I'm just going to secure that with what's here actually. And then connect that to the bar just to secure it even more. So I'm going to go from this center to this center, and then I'm going to come up and I'm going to go back and forth through these bars until I get to here, and then I will end it right up here. So here we go. At this point, you don't need to really attach that last center to the bracket. That looks good because I'm going to go just right above it. And so I'm going to go above the loop. You can gather it, you can even twist it if you would like. It's kind of up to you. It's not really necessary, but whatever you like to do. The whole point is just making sure you fill the whole wreath in, but the top two brackets here. So if you're more comfortable doing it a different way, go right ahead. All we want is the same look. I'm going to keep pulling. So now that I've gotten to the top here, I'm going to pull everything over, and I'm going to, let's see here, I've only got two brackets, so I'm going to go down, up, and then that way I don't have to add any more chenille stems. Again, you can twist it if you like. If you don't want to, that's okay too. I'm going up, and then I'm going to go back down here. Pull my loop out, and I'm going to, let's see, make sure I get that right bracket there. I don't want to mess this up. You might want to hold this while you're pulling this through so that you don't yank it the wrong way. Okay? And as you can see, I'm almost out of this roll, so that's good. So let's see what that looks like. Okay. Just kind of, I'm going to now go over the bracket here, and I'm going to fill this one in and do all three of those, I think. Sometimes it can be a little bit challenging to pull it through because we've got such tight space to work with at this point, but it can be done. Keep pulling it through. Check it on this side. Yep, it's looking good. You want to watch these zip ties that they don't tear at your burlap. So now I'm going to go up here. I think I'm going to, let's see, I only have that much left, so I want to make sure I have enough. So I'm going to kind of skip one of these brackets because I want two more loops at the top here. And depending on how you do it, you might need more than 5 rolls of burlap. You know what, actually this is only 4 rolls that I've done so far, so we're doing really good. So I was able to get this wreath done with 4 rolls. So I'm going to move this over, And I'm going to connect it with the chenille stem. Try to move it, there we go. I can find the other end, there we go, I found it. And I'm just going to twist it. You could also try these little zip ties. We'll do one here with a zip tie so I can show you what it'll look like. So I've got another loop here, and I'm going to take a zip tie this time just to show you what you can do. Just put it through and secure it on the opposite side of the wire wreath frame. Okay, so let's look. So I don't like how that's looking, so I'm going to tuck that in. So I'm going to turn this over, and I'm pretty happy, I think, with the way that turned out. So when I come back, I'll show you how to do the green. At this point, we're going to add the green burlap to our wreath. As you can see, the pumpkin shape is starting to take form, and up here we're going to add the green. You can use brown burlap if you'd like. Today I'm going to use green. I have a 4-inch burlap that's about 5 yards, I believe. So I'm going to use my zip ties. Usually I would just use a chenille stem that matches this, but I don't have some right now. So again, you can use chenille stem zip ties, up to you. I'm going to run the zip tie through my burlap, and again, I have 4-inch burlap. If you want to use 6-inch, that's just fine. I'm going to connect it to this bar here, and then I'm going to start my weaving method that we did on the rest of the wreath. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down, and then we're going to go through this, and then we're going to go back down, back up, just kind of like a W method right here. Just these top two frames here. So I'm going to pull it through, and I'm going to push it over, and I'm going to pull the top one through as I hold the bottom one down. I'm going to push it over, and I'm going to go down to the bottom. Unroll some of this here, be helpful. On the floor, if you want. This particular roll, I believe I got at Craft Outlet if you're wanting this color green. Hobby Lobby and other stores sell more of a sage green, I guess you would call it. So I'm going down, going up, going down, going up. So pretty simple. As you can see, we're starting to see the top of our pumpkin. I go up. point I've put on all the green burlap that I'm going to put on. And as you can see, I just zip tied one here and zip tied one there, and that's all I needed. So I'm going to flip it over and just look at it. You're going to want to, fluff it up because it does get pushed down a bit, when you flip it over. So at this point, everything looks good, and now we're going to learn how to make the stem of our pumpkin. Now let's make the stem for our pumpkin. This is what I like to use. I get this at Hobby Lobby, and it's in the ribbon section. It is normally $10 for a roll of this. I always get it when it's 50% off. I usually can make several pumpkin stems for my wreath. So what you're going to do, and again, you can use any sort of pumpkin stem. You don't have to use mine. This is just what I do. You can also find just regular chicken wire ribbon that's silver, and you could form your stem and then wrap it with burlap and not tape it, but glue it on the back. So let's start with this. I'm going to just kind of roll to kind of make the stem start here. And as I get as much as I want, I'm going to start going at an angle. And as I go at an angle, I want to slowly make the bottom of my stem bigger. So I'm going to let more of that kind of slack here. And then once you cut this, this is a very pliable material, which is really nice. So I'm going to kind of twist this a little bit. So this is smaller, and then it gets wider. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wire cutters and I'm going to snip what I think will make a good stem. Be creative. You can always put your own look on something. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to use these long pieces to connect it and secure the wire ribbon. Just going to press down. This is really simple. This is probably the most fun you'll have with this wreath, playing with this wire. Okay, so I'm going to start smashing it down a little bit, and now I'm just going to start just making what looks like a stem to me. And again, this is all really workable. You can just mold it to what you want. There's just no right or wrong. I've seen people use just fabric for the stem too. So if you don't want to get all this, you can just form your stem out of that. So that's about what that looks like. So now I'm going to get the wreath and we're going to attach that. So now that I have my wreath up, I need to figure out where I want to put the stem behind. Where will it look the best? So I want it sort of in the middle, and I think, see, we've got about, that seems like the best place right there. So I'm going to flip over my wreath here, and I'm just going to lay it flat down, as flat as I can get it. And I'm going to take a zip tie, and I am going to, let's see here, it's the best way to do this. I'm going to weave it through the stem. Okay, I got to just get that little piece, there we go. And I'm just going to zip tie that. As tight as I can get that. And then I'm going to put one more in there. And the farther up that I put this zip tie, I think it just secures it better. Pull it down. Okay. And I'm just going to cut the zip ties. At this point, we're going to just kind of make some curly Q grapevine stems that shoot out from the top of the wreath. So what I get is this wire. Again, I get this at Hobby Lobby. I'm not really sure. I'm sure Joann Fabrics has it, and I'm sure Michaels does. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to make about 4 or 5 of these, and I'm just going to wrap it around my fingers here, and then I'm going to pull it out to make this little curly stem. And I'll cut that. That's one. Again, I'm going to kind of bring it in a little bit at the top. And then I'm just going to wrap it. So at this point, we're going to add our Grapevine Curlys. So all I do is I just kind of stick them wherever I want. So look, right here looks like a good spot, so I will just take this. I will bend it around the wreath, and then I'm going to take a zip tie to just secure it a little bit more. It's kind of hard wire to deal with, so the zip ties will just ensure that they stay on. Now when you put these on your wreath, they will move around, and that's okay. Put another one over here. At this point, we're going to make our raffia bowl. We're going to just take a group of raffia, and this is not the easiest stuff to work with. I'm going to make one loop there, and then take the other end and make another loop. Okay, so we have our edges there. I'm going to take a natural looking chenille stem, and I'm going to twist it and secure it. So at this point, you can leave it like this, or you can take raffia and just twist over this middle part to get it the way you want it to look, to cover up that stem. Just going to keep going over. So now I've covered my stem. So I'm going to just twist it one more time. You know, this looks like a mess. So now I have something to connect it onto my pumpkin. And I will just go through and I will trim all of this. Now all I did was I took the bow and I attached it to actually the stem. And this is your finished wreath. If you look on the back of it, I just want to show you, I used the felt circle and I attached it with my zip ties, and I did make a little loop for it to hang from. It's very simple. Just run your chenille stem and tighten it down there and you'll have a loop. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on my burlap pumpkin wreath and hope to make more videos for you to watch in the future. Thank you.